My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings and reduce inflationary pressures. Inflation has eased notably over the past 2 years, but remains somewhat above our longer run goal of 2%. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation.
So with Jerome Powell from the Fed holding the line for the effective federal funds rate for another month in a row, they've been doing this since August of 2023 to try and combat inflation. And with inflation coming down, the next FOMC meeting is in another 48 days, 17 hours, 57 minutes, and 35 seconds. And 89% are expecting the Fed to issue a 25 basis point rate cut. Now, in this video, we're going to discuss how that's going to affect the crypto market, specifically XRP, currently sitting at 62 cents right now. Bitcoin sitting at $64,000. The bill that was just introduced for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. What would be the chances that they could even stop Bitcoin? How the Federal Reserve will make XRP holders extremely rich over the next few years with their FedNow service. We're going to clearly break down exactly how the FedNow connects to the Interledger protocol in XRP. Discussing Ripple, ACI Worldwide, and Swift. We're looking at the XRP, the US dollar price chart on the weekly and what's going to happen next. And also, if you watch to the end of this video, you'll discover how to earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes per day with the first XRP play to earn game. So if you guys are feeling bullish, comment 777. If you're feeling blessed, comment 777. And if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, you know what to do. Confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about what's taking place with the Federal Reserve right now, because for them to combat inflation, they need to watch this effective federal funds rate. And so Jerome Powell, just as predicted, came out and said basically the same thing that he's been saying for the past year, that they're going to keep monitoring inflation, they're going to keep tracking it. And so as inflation keeps coming back down, it's still not to their 2% target. And the craziest thing about what they use to even measure inflation right here for the consumer price index and the personal consumer expenditure to measure like housing, food and beverages, apparel, transportation, medical care, recreation, etc., is they can change the basket of goods that they use to measure inflation whenever, essentially. So it's a flawed number, and real inflation, this is not the real inflation out there because of price gouging too. So if you go into like Walmart, or if you go into a grocery store, or if you go to a restaurant, they're going to charge you more, and then they know that the scapegoat is always, oh, it's inflation. And so a lot of these restaurants are just going to overcharge. So if inflation is like, if it says 3%, then it's really like 7% or 10%. And so we're going to show a way out of inflation, and the reason why crypto has been taking off recently, because they got September meeting, they got November meeting, December meeting. So with over what looks like 89% expecting one rate cut, that doesn't mean that it's going to take an effect into the economy right away, because as you guys know, it takes like 6 months to 12 months to really see the effect of what the Fed does on the economy. So it's going to be a lagging thing that they do in response to what happens in the economy. So usually the Fed is too late because they're the firefighter and the arson. So the arson starts the fire, then they try and put out the problem that they caused. But by the time they put it out, it's too late, and the fire's spreading to all the other houses. And so you have to take it into your own account. You have to take it into your own control to basically shape your destiny. Now, obviously, you can't control what's going to happen in the crypto market. Nobody can. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but we can get a pretty good gauge on the long term, on the macro, on what the scenario is that's going to take place next because of what's happening from a fundamental analysis perspective. So I'm going to dive into that. I also want to dive into some technical analysis at the end of this video in the short term, covering what I talked about yesterday, and then zooming in even more on the day-to-day compared back to the past. So you guys know in one of my previous videos, I talked about Cynthia Loomis officially introducing the bill for a strategic Bitcoin reserve to establish this reserve and other programs to ensure a transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government to offset costs utilizing certain resources of the Federal Reserve System and for other purposes. And so this act may be cited as the Boosting Innovation, Technology, and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nationwide Act of 2024. That's a really long name, but essentially Bitcoin Active 2024 is what we can call it. And so with the Republicans being very, very bullish on crypto, the Democrats are going to have to be bullish as well too, leading into election to get more votes. So it's just a competition now on who can be more bullish for crypto. So a lot of people are wondering, like, how will this affect XRP? In a good way, because Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. So simple answer, but it's a little more complicated than that. So if Bitcoin can be stopped though, that's the real question, because nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but people get the gist that it's the NSA or it's the CIA or it's the government, and it's the beta test coin leading to XRP. So we'll discuss that. But to even have a chance to stop Bitcoin, every government in the world would have to successfully coordinate simultaneously to shut down the entire internet everywhere and then keep it off forever. So it doesn't matter who created Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. Even in that improbable scenario, the Bitcoin network can be communicated over radio signals and mesh networks. And so if there were to be an EMP attack or a global power outage, you just need gold and silver then to barter. Like crypto, it's going to be on the little back burner for a bit, because I don't know who's going to use the flip phones, let alone who would have a flip phone or radio signals or mesh networks to pay for stuff. People are going to accept food, bullets, gold, or silver. More so food and bullets would be the barter system if that were to happen. But at that point, who cares about any of this crypto stuff? So right now, we're relying on the internet to stay online for crypto to be successful. And so, if it were to hit the fan, then we'll discuss that in person. We'll all have a meeting point. You guys decide in the comments point, where are we meeting? Okay, what state are we meeting? Where are we setting up our fort, and how are we bunkering down to collectively create a community approach here? Okay, what's the game plan? In this video, what I want to discuss is FedNow, the Federal Reserve's plan, because as you guys know, earlier this summer, last summer, they started talking about FedNow and it started getting implemented, but it's a slow turning wheel, just like how Swift took 5, 10, 15 years to get really started. And then Swift's been around for 40 or 50 years, and now it's every bank. So Ripple's interledger protocol is the backbone of the FedNow payment system. This is what a lot of people have been saying, but is that actually true? Enabling seamless cross-border transaction. So the partnership showcasing the Fed's embrace of private blockchain tech to modernize payments. So Interledger's features like multi-hop routing and atomic transfers powers the FedNow's fast, secure, and interoperable cross-border payments. A powerful integration driving the future of the US payment infrastructure. And so this is what Mr. Man XRP said on Twitter, where the interledger protocol is deeply embedded within the FedNow system. So to break this down simply for you, if I'm sending money to you, that money is deposited into your account from mine, and it's instantly available. So the opposite is also true. If you charge someone for a service, that money is instantly debited from their account. So FedNow will run on the FedLine, which is an IP-based network and messaging system that currently provides payment and information services to more than 10,000 financial organizations. And currently, they have a multitude of digital assets with the numerous network protocols and standards they had in the 80s. They're saying that now all use one network protocol, which is TCP IP, because only one is required, where Interledger and XRP are the front runners to be the TCP IP equivalent in the world of fintech. The most efficient and well-planned system architecture won the race in the end by a clear mile. The other contenders are relics in history and are now forgotten. At this point in time, no one can compete with the XRP ledger's technical specs or the performance of the consensus algorithm. And I'll show you why by the end of this video. And the performance is set to improve with future updates as well too, like Ripple's stablecoin, their AMM, liquidity pools, and all sorts of other things that they're adding. So if you guys have never actually sent XRP before, I encourage you to test it out. It's really fast. It's like less than 3 seconds. So we go to the federalreserve.gov in this document from November 6th of 2019. The Federal Reserve has always acted as the glue for the US payment system by offering the backbone payment systems such as ACH, check, and FedWire, upon which many payment products have been created through. So everyone wants to know if FedNow can utilize T+1 in 2024 for quicker settlement times. So it looks like we've arrived at the future. The FedNow system allows for 24/7, 365 real-time settlements, and FedNow is an interbank real-time gross settlement service that enables immediate settlement of payments by debiting and crediting the master accounts held by financial institutions at the Federal Reserve banks. And they've been onboarding a bunch of banks such as JP Morgan, actively preparing for the T+1 settlement cycle transition by enhancing its systems, processes, and documentation. Now, how will all this work? Well, ACI Worldwide is what's going to be powering FedNow. It supports around 10% of the global Swift traffic and also is a partner of Ripple to change cross-border settlement. So there's $14 trillion in payments and securities being sent daily. 6,000 plus global banks, intermediaries, and merchants rely on ACI. 225 plus billion consumer transactions each year. Offices in 34 plus countries and customers in over 100 countries. Also, ACI supports banks that can use real-time payment systems to support Swift, FinGPI, distributed ledger technology, and then right here it says, example, Ripple, wire and immediate payments. And if we go on Binance.com, this article says ACI Worldwide, a leading provider of real-time electronic payments and banking solutions, is set to revolutionize cross-border payments with the integration of Ripple's technology. By partnering with FedNow and the clearinghouse TCH, ACI aims to expedite access to U.S. real-time payment systems through its innovative real-time payments cloud, where the collaboration leverages RippleNet's capabilities to bolster speed, security, and accessibility of cross-border transactions, marking a significant milestone in transforming the landscape of U.S. payments for both consumers and businesses. Guys, this is a big deal. ACI's real-time payment cloud for FedNow boasts AI-powered fraud and risk protection honed through extensive experience in deploying real-time payment solutions globally. And so that was put out there by Binance.com, and the role of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve Board is the issuing authority for Federal Reserve notes and ensures that there is enough cash in circulation to meet the public's demand. The Federal Reserve banks distribute, receive, and process Federal Reserve notes and distribute and receive coin through depository institutions. The 28 Federal Reserve Bank cash offices provide cash services to approximately 8,400 banks, savings, and loans and credit unions in the United States. So this was posted by the crypto philosopher saying FedNow is sub-second with 8,400 banks because Swift has over 11,000 banks, a global banking web adopting XRP and other ISO 222 tokens. XRP will be the leader as the reserve currency, or more so the bridge currency rather than a reserve because of what they're doing for Bitcoin. So we're still early because this is going to take time. So what we need to look at now is the technical analysis of what the charts are showing. Because if you guys didn't watch my video yesterday, I highly encourage you to go check it out after this. We talked about Bitcoin stock to flow rainbow indicator and the days until the next halving. When we go from purple, that you can see this color code on the chart right here, to orange, that's when Bitcoin halves. And so we can put this indicator on the XRP, the US dollar price chart as well too, on the weekly. Now what I also have up here is the RSI and the stochastic RSI, and I talked about bullish crosses and bearish crosses. To recap, a bearish cross is when we see the K line in blue cross below the D line in orange above 80 on the weekly stochastic RSI. And so I want to give you an example of what this looked like in the past. If we go back to September of 2016, when XRP rallied up from about 0.005 to 0.009, XRP shot up what looked like, if I were to measure from here, about 58%. And then the K line in blue was all the way up here at 101. And so when we were above 80 for the K line, also the D line at that point was at about 62. So it wasn't above 80 until we saw XRP all the way up at 0.009. So we saw a quick pullback, then this double top right here. So we saw a bearish divergence where we were forming a higher high on the price chart and a lower high on the stochastic RSI. Now I'll get into the RSI in a bit, but I'm just focusing on the stochastic RSI here. We saw a bearish cross right here and also simultaneously a bearish divergence. So the bearish cross was when the K line in blue crossed below the D line in orange above 80, and it confirmed when it dropped below 80, and simultaneously that's when we saw the sell-off for XRP from 0.009 all the way down here of about 45% when we went from orange to yellow. Now if we look on the right hand side of the screen, we can see some similarities here, and there is in the short term a little bit of caution that I want to put out there, because I'm not just here to hype you up with all this FedNow news and how you're going to be rich overnight. This is going to take time and it's patience, right? So when you're 5 years old, if you're 40 now, it took you 35 years to get to 40. Okay, if you're 20 to get to 40, it takes 20 years. I'm not saying that's going to take 10 years. I'm not saying it's going to take 20 years to get rich from XRP. For all we know, leading up to election, something incredible could happen. But what I'm expecting, I'll share with you in a little bit for this project in the long term. But in the short term, here's what we need to look at. The K line is at 100. The D line is at 88 on the weekly chart. The RSI is at 60. So we're not overbought on the weekly RSI, but we are on the weekly stochastic RSI. And so if we see a bearish cross, meaning the K line in blue crossing below the D line in orange. If it were to confirm by dropping below 80, that could mean a short-term temporary pullback for XRP. Now, as always, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm never going to give you financial advice. These videos are purely for information, educational purposes only to help you do your own research. Crypto's risky. You could lose money in these markets. You know, for example, if you were to buy XRP right now, I'm never going to tell you what to buy or what to sell, but if you were to buy XRP right now at 63 cents and it were to see a pullback, the zone that I'm watching for is this zone of support right here between roughly 45 cents to 50 cents within this zone. And if we see a bearish cross on the stochastic RSI and it pull back down below 80, for me personally to want to buy more XRP, because I have my position XRP that I've just been holding for a while. I'm treating it like a 401k that will never go away because it's a part of the new financial system for what they're implementing with FedNow. You know, Brad Garlinghouse said they're focusing on replacing Swift. And so whatever they end up doing long term and the direction that goes, XRP is going to play a clear role. But for me to accumulate more XRP, what I would want to look for is for the stochastic RSI in the weekly, for the K line and the D line to be below 20. And that would look like a pullback relatively quick, similar to what happened here. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen from the 17th of October until February. So October, November, December, January, February. That was about 5 months. Now, that would go contrary to what a lot of people think would happen leading up to election. So this could not be that deep of a pullback. Maybe XRP just trends sideways. Remember, guys, the stochastic RSI and the relative strength index is a momentum indicator. So the price doesn't have to come all the way down for us to see a bearish cross and us to drop below 20. We could trade sideways and just slowly bleed out for a little bit within the 50-cent range while the stochastic RSI turns around and comes back down here because the momentum would die off. But nonetheless, the bullish momentum is very, very hot right now. So because the K line's at 100, every single time that this has happened, 15 or 14 out of 14 times, if you guys watched my last video, it led to a reversal on the price chart for XRP's price to come down. So for us to go from orange to yellow, similar to what happened back here in 2016 before that rally, I believe that would be the last stop to accumulate as much XRP as possible, because if we see this bearish cross leading to the K line and the D line dropping below 20, then I personally would be backing up the truck for more XRP than ever before, because that would also lead to a reversal on the relative strength index to drop back down closer to 50. Now, in a bull run, what we see most of the time is the relative strength index staying above 50. So because we broke this descending resistance on the RSI going back to July of 2023, a whole year worth of this downtrend right here, we also broke this high right here. So we're now forming a higher high, because in order for us to have a trend reversal, we need to form a higher high in the RSI and to close on the weekly. So leading into August, it's very, very important that we stay above 60 cents, because if you look at this right here, high right here on the 18th of March, we're currently above it right now. And as you know, if you watch my previous videos, there's only two types of markets we can be in. We could be in a trending market, or we could be in a ranging market. So we either trend up or down, or we range sideways. Now, as you can see on the relative strength index, we've been trending down since July of 2023 in a downtrend. We just broke this descending resistance on the relative strength index to the upside. So that actually is a good sign of a trend reversal if we keep above 60 on the XRP, the US dollar price chart. Also, if we look at the price chart, we are at the descending resistance right now from the 10th of July. In my previous video, I talked about how we broke on the weekly last week, the macro 6-year resistance, which is great, but we're at a micro midterm, 1 year. So midterm is like a year to year, long term is over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whereas short term is on like the hourly or the day to day. And so if we were looking on the midterm, or the short term, I guess you could say, between mid and short, it's like July of 2023, we're right at that resistance right now. So if we get rejected from this resistance, this would fall in line with these yellow arrows that you can see right here on the stochastic RSI to see one final pullback before we absolutely blast off and break this descending resistance towards the end of this year near election. So I think leading into August, September, October, I don't see XRP doing anything too crazy. If anything, I just see the momentum just kind of being boring and trading either sideways or down, bleeding out into this zone over the next few months. Whereas the stochastic RSI, I would expect a bearish. So the RSI, I would expect the RSI to just start forming an uptrend, but to hold above 50, and ultimately for us to blast off leading into election or post-election. And so this is what I would expect the chart to look like. Now, I could be completely wrong here. However, I would be excited for XRP to take more time to blast off because I want to accumulate more. So for those of you guys that want to accumulate more, if you want to know what I'm doing, is I'm stacking up as much XRP as possible through the first XRP play to earn game. And if you want to discover how you can earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes per day playing this game, I'll leave a link in the description below, or you can go to bullrunners.com. You just click the button on the page, put in your best email address. You'll be instantly subscribed to our daily video newsletter. It's free. We give you guys the best information every single day, breaking news updates like this, informational and educational videos to help you do your own research. That way you can be able to capitalize this bull run like it's the last bull run of a lifetime to create true generational wealth to help you make the most amount of money possible. So if you want to take your game to the next level, go to bullrunners.com. It'll take you to the other side and you'll watch this 8-minute video. So in less than 10 minutes, you can learn how to earn more crypto rewards. We got all the videos up here that you guys need to learn, like how to get your XRP wallet with the most trusted and secure XRP custodial cold storage wallet, similar to a Ledger or a Trezor, but it's the best choice for holding your XRP, how to get your digital game pieces, how to play the game, and how to withdraw your crypto so you can start stacking your rewards over the next few months before XRP absolutely explodes. And also before crypto explodes, because I made a video about this project about a couple weeks ago when it was sitting at $53, and now it's sitting at $108, up at 2x, but it's still below a $3 million market cap, guys. So you're still early. And although I make no guarantees, if you took action when I first shared this with you, you'd be doing very, very well right now. So take the time, go to bullrunners.com right now, click the button on the page, put in your best email address, and watch all the videos on the other side, because together we're backing up our trucks all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them and stacking them, leaving no bags left behind, because we believe the spending power of the dollar is going to keep going down in value. That's a fact based on inflation, price gouging, blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies have been going up in value. That's the truth. And together, we're going camping on the beaches of the moon. I'll see you guys on the next video. I will see you on bullrunners.com right now. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.